They've known the worst of times, fans of these Blues and Demons. Their faith has been tested to the limit. But the darkest hour, they say, is just before dawn. And wooden spoons mean draft picks. High ones. Class. Quality. A future. Hope. And that's what Melbourne and Carlton fans are bringing to the MCG this afternoon. On the first Saturday of a new winter, hope is in the air. Welcome to a pretty chilly MCG where it's Melbourne versus Carlton on Saturday afternoon in round 11. Here come the Blues, hopeful of earning a top 4 spot by the time this home and away season is done and dusted. They've won 3 of their last 4. Didn't set the world on fire against the Eagles, but overall the form pretty good. Starting to become a quality side for mine, Carlton, led by their captain Chris Judd there. You can see on screen number 5, and he has dragged their midfield up to a position in the competition where they are elite. Bryce Gibbs, of course, had his best ever game, and Carlton, as you say, sitting in 6th position, Tim, but really having an eye on the top 4. Melbourne in a very interesting position. If they won and could boost that percentage a little, and if the teams playing above them had their results fall in a particular way, they could be in the top 8. At the end of round 11, right on the halfway mark of the season, what a fascinating outcome that would be. Here's one of the reasons for hope. He made his debut last week. He turns 19 next week. Jordan Gisbert's lined up next to Gary Ablett at the first bounce at Geelong and had 26 disposals. 10 contested possessions to go with that, 4 clearances. It's a great indication of how good the junior system is. Young players come in and they have an impact straight away, and Jordan Gisbert's did that last week. Well, let's have a look at how the teams line up. We're going to start with Carlton's front half. Of course, it's an improvised one since the departure of Brendan Favola. It's been working well. I wonder how slippery conditions might affect it. That's what we might get. They haven't had too many issues with scoring. They've scored over 100 points on 7 occasions this year. Santana O'Halpin is having a breakout season. Jared Waite, we can see there. A few ups and downs coming back from a knee reconstruction. Really like the path that he's on. I think he's recovered really well and he's getting better and better. Chris Yarran's still out, and of course he's another one of Carlton's high draft picks who wasn't on that list. Here's the midfield, and a lot of the high picks line up here. As always, this is where the balance of the game is for me. The experience now, and you talk about Jard, Gibbs and Murphy, they're up into the middle part of their career, whereas Scully and Trengove obviously just starting. If the Demon midfielders come and take on the challenge, they could really put Carlton under a bit of pressure today. Well, here's Melbourne's front end. Jack Watts named there at full forward. They too with a couple of dangerous Indigenous goal sneaks, and there are some good matchups there. Yeah, looking forward to seeing Jack Watts. It's great to see him getting some continuity in his AFL career. He's going to get good opponents this early on. Jamison, we think, will go to him, but I like what I see about Jack Watts. I think he'll be an outstanding player. Well, as I mentioned, Tom Scully and Jack Trengove back in the Melbourne lineup today. They seem to come to the club as a package, as they were picked 1 and 2 in the draft at the end of last year, and Melbourne almost confirmed that by leaving them out, resting them both on the same week last week. But it's good to see them back in for the Demons. It certainly is. I think it was a good move to give the 2 young players a bit of a rest in a long season. I thought it was a good chance to take a look at a comparison between Scully and Trengove and Murphy and Gibbs after 9 games, and it is so early on, and we're going to have to enjoy these 4 over more than a decade. But the numbers for Scully and Trengove already are sensational. We know how good Murphy and Gibbs are. Staggering to think that the game's changed already. You can get more disposals early on, but some excitement out there today. Scully and Trengove, 18 games between them. Gibbs has played 76, and Mark Murphy now has 90 under his belt in his 5th season. What a difference a few years make, although those young Melbourne tyros certainly stacking up well by comparison with the Carlton #1 draft picks after their first handful of games. So it's a big day. A lot of high-quality young players representing the 2 teams. Supporters coming to the MCG with hopes high. It's cold. It could be damp. It's Carlton and Melbourne. It's a big game for both. The first bounce coming up shortly.
I think Carlton will be a little bit too strong today. The rain, I think, is going to come and come heavily. Welcome along, Michael Christian.
Thanks, Howie. Yes, looking forward to this game. There's Jack Trengove. What an impression he's made, along with the #1 pick, Tom Scully, so far in season 2010. And, Tim, I think the Blues by 23 points. Should be a good game, though.
I'm pretty much with you, Chriso. You've got to go for their greater consistency and a bit more experience.
Yeah, I've got Carlton having a win today as well, Tim, but I think there is a really good chance for the young Melbourne Stars, who we know in 2 seasons or 3 seasons, they're going to be consistent performers. There won't be any fluctuation. Having said that, that man there, Tom Scully, his mate Jack Trengrove, they have not missed a beat since debuting. You can see why they're all quality, and fair bit riding on this game. As you mentioned earlier, Tim, Melbourne could, if things worked out, be in the 8 after today's game with the win, and Carlton are on the verge of threatening the top 4. So a lot at stake, big game, and excitement with so much young quality out there.
Quite incredible that we can be saying that after the first round when Melbourne got thumped, but it's been a great comeback from them. Brown and Bartram. So about to get underway. Carlton versus Melbourne. Now it looks like there's a free kick. Now it's going to O'Halpin, 50 metres from goal.
This is probably going back, Chriso, to Scott Thompson, Barry Hall a few weeks ago. The umpires aren't going to muck around. If you put your forearm in the back of someone behind the play, they're going to pay an early free kick as a warning not to continue to do it.
Well, he'll need to kick this 55 metres plus. The big Irishman, what a season he's had. From the front of the centre square, thumping kick, just pulled it a touch. Gee, got the distance okay, but first score of the match without the ball even being bounced in the centre.
Let's have a look at this. And
there's just a little slap.
Just a little bit of high contact.
But it was high, and that's all it needs.
Not a lot in that, and look, I think the umpires are doing the right thing. It just sends a message to everyone, just play the game on its merits, don't do anything silly, otherwise we'll pay a free kick.
Grimes bringing it back in, needing to be careful, finding Rivers, who lined up on weight, and they were at each other's throats as well. So Melbourne's defenders have come out aggressively. Bartram, Judd dumps him, and the kick drops short. Straight to O'Halpin, who kicked quickly and Waite receives. Again, just beyond 50, probably too far out. The goal square pretty much unguarded, and Simpson is dropping back and taking the mark. He'll have to line it up from the angle.
Great passage of play set up from this quality tackle. Nothing but a really hard, strong physical performance there from Chris Judd. But I love what O'Halpin did. Summed it up well, didn't blaze away, chip short to Waite. Waite played on quickly, one-on-one in the goal square. Simpson good enough to get the job done.
He's a pretty good kicker, Cade Simpson, and certainly, well, anyone should nail it from that range. And he does, and Carlton have the first of the day.
I like Cade Simpson forward. I think it's a role that he plays well. He gets onto his left foot, turns players inside out, capable in the goal square, the one-on-one mark, and it's a simple game, isn't it? When you play on quickly and you're a forward and your defender hasn't got any support around him, you get very excited. Cade Simpson's got a big smile on his face. Nice way to start Saturday afternoon footy for him.
J.A., just watch Davey.
And the goal to Simpson, but great work here from Big Satanda, who's been involved early.
I like the awareness he's got in the game now, Chris. So 2 seasons ago, would have just blazed that away. Wouldn't have thought about the small one, and he delivered it nicely.
So the first bounce of the match, Jamar wins it down. In the meantime, free kick.
Carlton free. In the ruck to push.
Okay, so against Jamar, free kick to Cruiser. From the centre, he kicks wide into the path of Anderson. Well played by Scully. Got his body between Anderson and the ball, and the ball trickles over. So a boundary throw in, half forward for the Blues. Stephen Brown, boy from West Perth, had a pretty good game last week. 14 disposals, kicked a goal. Cruiser reaches over the top at ground level, fighting hard. Jones of Melbourne, and also Houlihan at the base of the pack.
Match up at the other end. Jack Watts has started.